Hi, my name's Stephen.
And I'm Wallace, and we're here in Ladakh for a gap year. We've been here since June, planning to stay until October.
We've recently been affected by the August 4th floods in the region of Ladakh, Leh, in the state of Jammu and Kashmir of India.
Because we were working at Shey Lamdon School, and on Monday we moved into the school, and then Friday night the floods hit us. So all of Friday the weather was looking bad. I was out taking photos of the dark clouds over Leh, because it made for some quite dramatic shots over the mountains.
Yeah, it probably we could see it brewing over the mountains to the north since about 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but didn't think much of it because Ladakh's a desert region, and deserts aren't meant to have much rain.
Yeah, but then by about 6 or 7 o'clock, when we were playing with the kids in the playground, as we were going in, the winds started to pick up and it started to really pelt down a bit.
Singapore-style monsoon rains in Ladakh, which was quite unusual, but we didn't think much of it. Ate our dinner, went to bed, and then thunder and lightning woke me up maybe 12 o'clock, and I was busy taking photos, just looking up at the sky, not looking down. Couldn't sleep. Then after about an hour of trying to take photos, I saw some torch lights from the other rooms, and I thought I might have woken them up with the flash from my camera, and then looked down to the ground and the mud was rising. It was flowing like a river, so I woke Stephen up, and yeah, he told me to go away. He wanted to sleep. He didn't care about the rain.
It wasn't quite like that as I got out of bed and took more of a look than you did.
And then
but
the mud, it looked solid, flowing solid, and then when you stuck your foot in it, it was like a river.
Yeah,
the descriptions are like a cold lava.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, because it was incredibly viscous.
I mean, it was as close to being solid as a liquid can be. It was reaching physics critical mass where...
if you got into it, you'd just be swept away, because there was like the big 1-ton water tanks.
Right.
And that
getting washed away.
It was sort of emerged in the morning 100 meters down, and
the
the
gas
big
bottles
15-kilo gas bottles.
In the school jeep was washed maybe a couple of meters from where it was parked before, like the angle tilted. And
have you had an opportunity to go into other areas like Chogamsar, Leh, and see some of the destruction there?
Not yet. We've been looking at
there are full water tanks on top of buildings. I mean, the magnitude of the mass and velocity turns physics on its head. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we were trying to conceive how much mud was around the school, and we were just thinking there would be hundreds and hundreds of tons. If that was just water, it'd be heavy enough, but the fact that it's
right now the campus is covered from 18 inches to 1.5 meters. Solid silt.
Yeah, so during the night we couldn't do much because our building was separated, because the river, the mud was flowing on both sides of the building. So we just kind of, and the mud was still coming in surges. It didn't come as flowing like a river. It would flow, kind of stop, and then the next surge would come maybe 30 centimeters.
But it would be like minutes in between. So
at what point was it obvious this was a crisis and you had to evacuate the kids to higher ground?
Well, it was, we knew it was big trouble, because in geography we'd learned about the power of mud and landslides and mudslides.
But for a long time as well, we were observing the mud, and it wasn't going higher than a certain point. And so for the night we felt that it was safe to sort of with the headmaster.
So adults are outside discussing the situation.
The thing is,
we couldn't act until the mud had stopped flowing, because if you walk in the mud and you get a surge, but you get washed away or pinned under.
But one of the really big problems is that at school there was 145 students, and then there was the headmaster and the two of us and
the kitchen
crew. so it's not like there's an extensive team.
And the infants were in a separate building, 45 of them, at the back of the school and completely surrounded by mud. So we were trapped on our little area. So we just kind of calmed the kids down and then got the older kids. All the older kids woke up and were helping everyone out, like
sort of
stopping the little
constructed
ones from crying.
chain from the
And then
from the
built-
kitchen
yeah.
to the kindergarten's room.
So a
and
human
pass,
chain in mud.
I can pass the kids down
From
bit-
the infant building through the window of the kitchen and then out through the window of the kitchen into the classroom, which was on the far side, so the mud's coming this way
Right.
and it's here, the classroom.
We just
So
were out there, and
Yeah.
the alluvial fan that is
Yeah.
now the
Oh, yeah.
school
Yeah.
just bypassed the schoolroom
Yeah.
classroom.
Yeah.
So everyone, like 145 kids, were all put into the 2 rooms that were least unaffected
Yeah.
because there was the wall and then the mud was maybe that far from coming into the window. And so we stayed the night because the rain stopped.
But like we were sort of forced to stay the night. Like
We didn't have an option because the
Yeah.
mud was too viscous to
and it was
go
just
through.
flowing too fast to actually get the kids out of buildings.
And it
stuff,
was
so-
safer just to keep everyone in the 2 rooms. So Manoj handled that very well.
Was
and
was the mindset at that time that this was an isolated incident in Shey, or were you thinking this is region-wide?
I
This
would
is
have said that it was like all across Ladakh,
Right.
but I would have definitely, because like we could see the clouds earlier in the night and like across Leh and across Shey and
Choglamsar.
Choglamsar, so
It's amazing. That
I-
rolling thunder, I've never heard thunder
and it
rolling
just-
for a minute or a minute and a
definitely.
half.
And
It
like
was
the lightning strikes, instead of just going straight down vertically, they would sort of
horizontal,
Dancing,
horizontal
yeah,
and then
yeah.
join up, and it was
It was crazy. And then in the morning, well, we couldn't. It was maybe 3 o'clock by the time everyone was in the 2 classrooms, and we went up. We had a bed given to us, told to sleep, but you know you have so much adrenaline pumping, you can't sleep. And the biggest problem, like during the night, was the toilet because you couldn't get to the toilet, and there wasn't really any place to go. So you had to wait until the morning, until daylight to go. And when daylight did come, we saw the full magnitude of what has occurred the
then
night
it does
before.
really hit you because you can see everything and like
Because we weren't worried before as such. Like during the night, it was more make sure all the kids are okay, and then I'm sure it will pass. You know, we'll be fine. And then you look in the morning and you see the mud's this far from the windows, and
like
if there's any more rain during the day or during the night, it will
It's
come
a
straight
critical
through
mass.
and destroy.
So where are you now? Where are we
currently
from?
we're staying at Shey Monastery, which is about 50 meters on a hill above the rest of.
Built on solid rock,
Yeah.
which is quite reassuring. Staying in one of the halls here.
Yeah, so we've been here 5 days. Oh, this is our 5th day, 4 nights. We'll probably be here. Certainly at least one more night. And then, depending on how the weather's looking and the predictions, there's a high chance that we could be here longer. So,
But yeah, it's a lot of waiting around. It was to evacuate all the children to the Gumpa. Everyone had to trek through the knee-deep mud. There was no option. You had to take your shoes and socks off.
well, it was knee deep
Go
for us,
through.
but for some of the little 3 and 4 year old kids,
They had to be
it was-
carried, otherwise
Terrifying.
it'd be up to their
Absolutely
necks.
terrifying.
So, and before we evacuated, we spent the morning clearing logs from the major passages. So if there was rain, it would flow, it would have the river would flow smoothly through the mud as opposed to overflowing and doing more damage than it already had done. So,
Well, I've already been in contact with Mr. Gibby and Mr. Coburn and lots of people at UWC, and obviously all the larger family of Lamdon supporters is looking forward to hearing more about how they can impact. I've briefed them photographically, sent a lot of photographs back, but nobody really knows the magnitude of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This fire is still raging, and it's not time to be talking about redecorating.
As terrible as it was in Shey, luckily no one lost their life in Shey. And then
I heard that we came out quite unscathed compared to like the destruction of Choglamsar, because one of the teachers from school, Wong Du, the English teacher, he's been texting us occasionally,
and he has no house anymore.
Yeah, and
only like, just rescued his family, and that sort of stuff. And the thing is, the people here don't really know what's going on because there's no communication, because the BSNL and mobile tower was down. Ladakh, the local radio station was down, so the only way we could find out what was happening was texting our parents, because they had the internet and it was immediate breaking news in Singapore type stuff. So that's how we kind of found out how severe the situation was and how